Well, because I knew that it was going to be Labor Day weekend and attendance is a little slim on those days, I decided I was going to have some fun with this sermon. And when it was stormy this morning and I didn't know for sure if I was going to be slopping around in the rain, I wore my jeans and decided it was going to be kind of a casual thing. But for my sermon, you know, that there's always been that tension between faith and works, right? Don't know what part is God's, what part is ours, what part is our belief, what part is our work. And that's one of those things that has continued since James wrote his letter. And the true story of the three little pigs can help us understand that whole faith and works issue. Believe it or not. And if you are searching your memory and can't understand how that could be, well, maybe you haven't heard the story of the three little pigs in quite this way. By the way, this artwork is from a book by Barry Moser, and unfortunately I couldn't find the book. I got this one online, but I couldn't. The book's out of print, and it was checked out from the libraries in Lincoln, and so I had to use Richard Scarry's Three Little Pigs story for some of the artwork, so it's not all this cool. Okay, but once upon a time, there were three little pigs who decided that it was time to leave home and make their way in the world. So here are the three little pigs saying goodbye to their mother. Now, something that is usually left out of these stories are the names of the three little pigs. Here, their names were Progressive Pig, Practical Pig, and the praying one there is Pious Pig. Right? Okay, I don't know how many of you knew that. How many of you knew that? No, you know what? None of you knew that. Well, Pious Pig was the little pig that always wanted to pray and sing hymns and read the Bible, but when it came to doing his chores at home, he would say, oh, I just need to pray. Don't bother me with that. I'll do it later. So his brothers thought that he was kind of lazy because he never wanted to do any work. He just wanted to do this faith thing. Now, his brother on the other end, Progressive Pig, was a pig that felt like all of that religious stuff was just a bunch of nonsense, that the important stuff was working for issues of social justice, going out and demonstrating and working for the benefit of the oppressed and downtrodden. And then the brother in the middle was Practical Pig. And whenever his two brothers, Pious Pig and Progressive Pig, would get into arguments, you know, like families do sometimes, Practical Pig would just go outside and go for a walk and try to keep quiet and stay out of the way. Practical Pig loved God, but at the same time, he was also a very hard worker. And so, these are the three little pigs. Well, they left home, and as they were walking out into the world, they knew that they were going to have to find some shelter, some place to live. And because Pious Pig and Progressive Pig couldn't really get along, they decided it'd be best for each of them to have their own house. And Pious Pig didn't want to spend a lot of time and energy building his house, right? You knew that part of it. So, because he wanted to spend all of his time praying and singing hymns and things like that. So as they were walking along, he met a farmer with a load of straw. And Pious Pig said, "Hey, farmer, can I have some of your straw?" And the farmer said, "Well, there's a field down here that's just been harvested. You can go there and you can get all the straw you want." So Pious Pig went and collected some straw, and within an hour or two, he had built himself a little straw house. And you can see that he even went out and bought a TV antenna to put on his little straw house there. And he was so happy he could get down to praying and worshiping. Well, Progressive Pig and Practical Pig went on just a little bit farther, and they met a woodsman carrying a bunch of sticks. And Progressive Pig said, "Oh, I know, a house out of sticks. That would be great, because it won't take me long to build my house," because he was getting ready for a demonstration against bacon at the state capitol, and he didn't want to spend a lot of time working on that house. And he said, "Besides, when I need to have a stick to carry my signs on in a protest march, I'll have those sticks right there in the house." So Progressive Pig built his house out of sticks, and you can see the picture of his little stick house right there. And then Practical Pig went down just a little bit farther to the edge of the river, and he decided he was going to pray and seek God's wisdom and guidance on what to do about a house. And as he was praying, this idea formed in his mind that it would be great to have a nice, strong, and cozy and snug brick house, that it would really give him good protection in the winter and protect him from the storms. And so he went to a local brickyard and he applied for a job, got hired, working in the brickyard, and he would put his wages toward buying bricks and lumber, and he built himself a lovely little brick house, and it was just a wonderful house. And there is Practical Pig in his little brick house that he worked hard for, and built. Well, one of the things, I guess you could call it an error, is that those pigs didn't really check out the neighborhood very well when they were building their houses, because nearby lived a big bad wolf named Dwayne. Now, I don't know how many of you knew that the big bad wolf's name was Dwayne. How many of you knew that? Nobody. See? You learned something in church this morning. Isn't that wonderful? So, Dwayne was really hungry. Look at his stomach there, how sunken in it is. Dwayne was just checking out these new neighbors, and being hungry as he was, he thought, "Oh my, little pig would really, really taste good." Now, if you've heard this story before, you know that first of all, he went over to Pious Pig's little straw house. And he said, little pig, let me in, let me in." And Pious Pig said, "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, because I'm praying." And Dwayne said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." And he huffed and puffed and blew, and he blew Pious Pig's house down, and he grabbed him and he gobbled him down. Right? There are no pictures of that. I didn't want to frighten the children. It would be too gory and too scary for church. Well, Dwayne was still hungry, even after that delicious little pig. So he went over to Progressive Pig's house. And you know what happened. He got there and says, little pig, let me in, let me in." And Progressive Pig said, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. I'm getting ready to go to a protest march against pickled pig's feet. And so the wolf said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. And he huffed and puffed and blew Progressive Pig's house in and grabbed him and gobbled him down before he could even get a petition drive together to stop wolves' cruelty to little pigs. Well, you know that Dwayne, Big Bad Wolf, was still hungry, so he went over to Practical Pig's house. And he said, little pig, let me in, let me in. And Practical Pig said, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And the wolf said, and I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. And he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he couldn't blow the house down. He blew so hard that he developed a hernia, and he had to go have surgery and stay with his sister in Arizona, and never bothered Practical Pig anymore after that. And of course, by now, you've probably figured out the moral of this story, right? If you pray hard and you work hard, you'll be fine. But if all you want to do is pray and have faith, but you don't want to work, or if all you want to do is work and don't want to pray and have faith, you'll end up going down the Dwayne. Right? See? You did. And so many people don't know about that amazing story and the way that it instructs us in life. So, at any rate, I know it's a kind of a long shaggy dog story. However, the point is the same one that James made. What good is faith if we don't accompany it with works? Or the converse, what good are all kinds of good works if we don't really do them for God and out of love for others? So, thanks be to God for faith, works, and the story of the 3 little pigs.